Hey, how's it going? A decent amount of you watched my Perfect Circle Outsider video, and I figured since that's the case, I'll do another one, which is actually my legit favorite Perfect Circle song of all time. Like, this is the song that made me really love Perfect Circle. I think I heard this song at 3 a.m. one day. I woke up randomly at 3 a.m. because I used to listen to the radio when I used to fall asleep. I don't know if any of you used to do that. Like if you're a 90s kid, if you ever grew up when you listen to the radio when you fall asleep and sometimes you wake up, and you might still do it now if you listen to music sometimes when you're sleeping. You wake up randomly, there'll be some random song playing when you wake up, and then you're like, what is this? I need to figure out what this is. And then you find it out, and you go and listen to the band, and you realize, oh my god, this band's amazing. And that's how it was for Perfect Circle. 'Cause I think their first single was Judas, which I might actually do a video on as well. The only problem with these are these videos tend to get copyright claimed and they reduce the visibility. So then I have to fight it. So it takes a little while for it to go out. So between my last video, which is my most recent one, my Somi video, and this one, there will probably be another video in between while this one is waiting to get out of YouTube jail. But this video is for Three Libras by A Perfect Circle, which is like my all-time, my favorite song of all time, from my favorite band of all time. Like it goes like Perfect Circle, Fleetwood Mac, and then like Alice in Chains are my top three favorites. And sometimes on any given day, Fleetwood Mac and Alice in Chains switch, but A Perfect Circle is always at the top. Oh yeah, do not forget to subscribe if you have not subscribed already. I feel like I should tell you that. Mayor James Kenney will want you to. I don't know that personally. I don't know him personally. I don't know if he would actually say that, but and do it anyway because he might. And if you enjoy this, let me know, and I'll do another one and share with you something from Alice in Chains or another band that I really enjoy. Because as much as I do enjoy the suggestions from you guys, I also want to try to share some stuff with you that you might not have heard yourself. Maybe we can learn from each other. It'll be fun. And let's get started because this is a really interesting song because the song is very much about not being seen and being ignored and being overlooked. And yeah, let's just get into it. Now, the one thing I really do love about this song is this song, in my opinion, is what you call really good music, really good. It's very well crafted. Is the best way I can put it because it starts off with this very somber melody and somber tune, very slow and melodic guitar. But then as you'll see, it'll start to build and build upon itself. Now, I mean, I can't play it straight through because, like, commentary and fair use. But I do suggest you to go and listen to the song yourself, and you'll see what I mean. How it begins to crescendo as it goes, and it goes to these peaks and valleys and these highs and lows, and it takes you very much on this emotional journey. Unlike Judas, the best I can describe Judas versus Three Libra is Judas is like a whirlwind of music. Like it whips you up in a frenzy like you're in a tornado. What I do like about this video is now that I'm going back and looking at it because it's just kind of like this little boy, the perspective, because the whole perspective of this video is told through the lens of this kid right here. And as you can see, the way the kid is framed, like he's framed between his two parents. His two parents are slightly out of focus, especially her, but they're slightly out of focus, so he's in frame, but it's almost like, again, like they're not looking at him at all, like he's kind of there, but he's in his own little world, not really existing with them. They are kind of liner notes as he's very much more focused on his boat, and he's a little shy, and he sees these strange people sitting over here, but it kicks us off into our first lyrics, and he says, I threw you the obvious just to see what I get. Hold on. See, I love that. When it's like, I threw the obvious. I threw you the obvious. Just to see, like, he's like, the whole point is like, he's just trying to make it obvious for you, his thoughts, his feelings, his presence. And a lot of that is represented, at least in my opinion, again, through the perception of this child, because this is actually the band right here. But the band themselves, they're not really front and center in this video. They're more so like side characters in their own music video, which I always find very fascinating, especially Maynard. Like Maynard James Keenan is the kind of guy who, even when he's performing on stage, he'll be like off to the side or somewhere random on stage. He's rarely entirely front and center. A lot of times when he's performing, or he's wearing a wig, or he's kind of hiding himself. And see, wait, let's go back. Let's go back and hear that again. I really want you to get the point of view of the lyrics. Seems like you flew in and on your back a name in your recollection, down among a million same. It's like you don't really recognize me amongst the sea of many. Like you're not really paying attention. I'm one in a million. I'm one amongst many to you. Nobody. And then you see, like right here is when the tone change. It becomes a little bit more elevated. It picks itself up out of the trenches. Like the early melody is very, like I said, melancholy, very slow tempo, very low. But as it starts to pick up into the bridge, it becomes much more elevated, much more elated, much more. He's starting to, become more expressive in this feeling of being overlooked, which I think is something that a lot of people can connect to. I think we've all felt at any given point in time in our lives, overlooked or not seen, not heard by people around us, and we feel like we're almost metaphorically and sometimes quite literally screaming out for someone to listen, and you don't feel seen or heard. And for me personally, especially as a teenager, that kind of thing resonated with me. But I think as all of us who are teenagers, that's something that can resonate with us, and we can sometimes feel trapped by that feeling. See, like right there, it's like, he's like, it's hard not to feel, to feel sort of shortchanged. Like you say, he feels disappointed that you can't even see me. You're so oblivious to what I'm trying to tell you. You don't even realize that you're standing here naked. Which in some ways people could say it's like also kind of leans back to like, the ignorance of something like Adam and Eve. I'm reaching here. But like, before Adam and Eve ate the fruit of knowledge and they became aware, they were standing there oblivious to their own nudity, oblivious to their own being, so to speak. And it's like, you're so oblivious to everything. You're oblivious to what I'm trying to tell you, to what I'm trying to inform you of how I'm trying to get you to notice me, that you can't even see yourself. And you're standing here bare and exposed to the entire world and you don't even know it. Like, it's just, it's so poignant. It's so good. Like Maynard James Keenan is so good at songwriting. It's insane. And you see how like it picks up there. And here's what's interesting. This song actually does not really have like a chorus or a hook. What it is a series of escalations. Like, because it repeats several things over and over and over. Especially like the I threw you the obvious. It repeats that over and over. But each time it repeats, it gets a little bit louder and it ascends a little bit higher until eventually he's screaming it to you at the top of his lungs. But also each time he comes back to repeat it, the tone and the melody change a little bit. It's like the same tone, but it's gotten a little wider and it becomes more elevated, and the song kind of slowly pulls itself out of the trenches and and levitates itself and brings itself into the light, into the sky, so to speak. I don't know if I'm expressing that properly, but I think you get what I mean. Like I said, like it goes like it starts off with I threw you the obvious, and he starts with a very somber tone, but then as you see, it picks itself up as it's expressing how disappointed he feels and how oblivious you are. But then it circles back around to threw you the obvious, and the melody has changed. The melody has become a little bit lighter, a little bit more freeing, more expressive. But see, and also this time, he's expressing a similar sentiment, but a different thought. Because before, he's like, I threw you the obvious, threw you the obvious, see if there's more behind. Because like the first time, it's about disappointment of not being seen. This time, though, listen. See, the first time, he's like, I threw the obvious, and I'm disappointed that you couldn't even recognize me. And this time, it's like, I threw the I'm also, this time, I'm trying to see if there's more behind you, if there is more than what I see, or maybe I'm just kind of imagining that there's more, or I want there to be more when there maybe really isn't. And you see like right there, and that's like the beautiful thing, because again, it's like before he's like, he's throwing you the obvious to see if you can recognize me, but then you can't. And now I'm throwing it back to you again to see if I was looking deeper into you than what was really there, to see if there's more behind these eyes of someone who is kind of broken and, like you said, a tragedy. And then like let's bring it back a little bit. And then he's like, but then he realized, and then that's the thing. It's like, here I am expecting just a little bit too much from the wounded. Because you see, before he's like, now he's really like, the song is interesting because it's like each step in each verse is basically coming to light and coming to some kind of realization about where you stand. Once, and the first verse is all about kind of a longing to be seen by somebody or by somebody's, but it's about a longing to be seen, and then it expresses a disappointment in this overall ignorance But then the second verse brings you to the realization, brings him to the realization that maybe he's expecting too much from somebody who in some ways may be equally as damaged as himself, maybe even more so, that someone who I thought I wanted attention and approval from may actually be far more broken than I at first understood and could even recognize myself. Maybe I too was also ignorant and oblivious to who this person really was as well. I do love that because it's like, and at this point, as it starts to build to his kind of grand finale, to the grand revelation, he finally realizes that he himself was also caught in a fog and caught in a cloud. And a lot of his cloud is because he was looking so inward and hoping and wanting so desperately to be seen that he realizes that while I'm sitting here wishing you could see me, I realized that I also really couldn't see you as well. And I couldn't see you for what you were because I was so caught up in my own selfishness and my own kind of self-loathing. And I was sort of ignoring the reality of who you were, and that maybe you also weren't really equipped to be able to see me because you have your own damage. And as you see here, he's at this point he's screaming it. He's screaming at the top of his lungs because he finally understands. He finally realizes. And this is the part, and this is like my favorite part of the song because it picks up and it kicks and it's just so it kicks up such a beautiful way, and it crescendos to just this to like almost this sheerly ethereal like sound and emotion, and it's just like sheer pure expression and freedom. And then ultimately, then here's where it kind of goes back to a more somber place because then he realizes the truth and he realizes it's not what he was expecting or hoping for. Oh, well, apparently nothing. And then he's like you love it because it crescendos to this grand revelation of like, where again, he's like before, it repeats the same verse as before when he was singing it, as I threw you the obvious just to see. And he's talking about, the eyes of a fallen angel, but then he's truly really expressing that. But then what does he realize is behind the eyes of this person? Nothing really. Apparently there's just nothing there, and what I was looking for wasn't there, and I was just ultimately disappointed with what I found. And I think like here personally, when he's saying you don't see me, it's also kind of a not only just a you don't, but also you can't. He's like, I realized that who I was looking for really wasn't there, and because you're not who I thought you were, we really cannot connect. And you ultimately, you can't see me. You can't see what I want you to see. You can't see who I really am. And I think a lot of that is personified here into this scene, where he's walking through this crowd, this party, and all these people are doting on him and laughing and smiling and in his face, but it's like he's just kind of moving through it without paying them any attention because he realizes like while they're interacting with him, they don't really comprehend or understand who he is. And that was A Perfect Circle, 3 Libras. Which again, I think that's just a beautiful song. That's an awesome song. One of my favorite song of all time. And I don't know, let me know what you think. Are you a fan of Perfect Circle? If this is your first time hearing Perfect Circle? If so, I totally recommend checking this song out and checking out the album it's from, which is Mer de Nome, which is French for Sea of Names, if you didn't know that. And if you are a French speaker, then you obviously know that. And yeah, let me know what you think. Do you like this song? Do you agree? Do you like my take on it? Do you disagree with what I have to say? Let's have a conversation about it. I'd be glad to hear that. And until next time, kiddos, I will see you later. Peace.